Hey guys, Joe the Tech Guy here with another episode of HTM Tech. For those of you returning, thank you so much for stopping by. For those of you new to the channel, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you get notified every time that I put out new content for you guys. Something a little special for here this week. Now, before doing HTM Tech, I didn't really do a whole lot of tech kind of stuff. And going back, I haven't always been a content creator. I'm going to bring in my good friend, Mr. Karl here, if he wants to pop on screen. There he is from Turnbuckle Talk. Now, let's rewind the clock to, okay, I got to see if my memory serves me correctly here. I think that we originally, well, for myself, doing YouTube was a little channel called the Joystick Justice League. I did with a friend of mine, Mr. Mike Frusios. A fairly short run there, but dipped my feet into the YouTube side of things, and kind of the creative differences. It always kind of happens that we decided to part ways, and he does his own kind of thing. And then you and I got involved, not into YouTube first, but with doing some internet radio stuff with our friend Mr. Ryan Karl with Energy Rock Radio. Now, rewinding back to those days, man, what's kind of your big takeaway from some of the stuff that we did there?
Absolutely loved doing internet radio. We had set time just as we normally do now,
Yep.
right? Especially for myself doing, Turnbuckle Studios and Turnbuckle Talk and everything that's involved with Turnbuckle Studios. We really try to make sure that we have consistency because we realize that it's key. We pretty much had consistency when it came to the internet radio side of things as well. And it was a new and different kind of platform that was out there that not a lot of people were doing. Everybody was doing YouTube. Twitch
Mm-hmm.
was starting to become something as well around that time. So everybody was kind of jumping on that bandwagon. But we decided to kind of do a little bit of internet radio first. So it was never video that we were doing before. It was
Yeah.
strictly audio that we were doing, which was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
We did include a little bit of video. I believe Energy Rock Radio was using VCasts at the
Yeah.
time and would allow some people to come in and see the actual video that was going on with some of the
You know,
big named people that we actually got to interview during that time.
it's a hit and miss proposition when you now. Now, I don't want if Ryan's end up watching this, I don't necessarily want to put this in too much of a negative light here, but it's the type of thing where if you allow random people to just kind of show themselves while you're doing, especially content live, because that's the other big thing. With this for
Mm,
pre-recording, I can edit out the fucks and the shits right at some point, but
right.
when you're live, pal. As
Yeah.
going back to the wrestling days, but it's the type of thing where like I still had a great time, but there were just like those few kind of things that would kind of like happen to where like in back of my mind, I'm just like cool. So it's like I can kind of recall, but then little incidents and stuff like that kind of start to pile up, and I was like, okay, well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So there was a little wrestling program that was happening on Energy Rock Radio with Kyle Espenscheet, otherwise known as Mustang Man. And it was a show called the Wrestling Recap that he was doing. I believe it was a mixture of himself and then him and Ryan, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of inconsistencies there. And then Ryan basically brought me in and said, do you do kind of, are you a wrestling fan? Do you think I'm like, yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind tagging along, and we did that for not too long. It was a relatively short run against some inconsistencies. I get it. Kyle was young. He was going through a lot of health issues. And then along with that, he did end up passing away very abruptly. Multiple seizures that happened, and sadly he left this world. And then things were kind of in limbo, and that's when we got a hold of you. You and I at that point had known each other for probably 20 something years, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
longer. And I was like, well, that's just a natural fit. And then Wrestling Recap morphed into Turnbuckle Talk on Energy Rock Radio. And we did a lot of interesting stuff there. Again, some weird, some bad, some good, some great. But it was all a learning experience and an
Oh
overall
yeah.
great experience. Getting to talk to some people I'll let you name off some of the names that we kind of talked to.
So some of the lesser known names that people might not know, you're looking like CW Anderson, huge in the ECW
Yeah.
world. Jazzy Gabert, still friends with Jazzy to this day. Absolutely love her, but she was part of WWE NXT UK for a while.
Yep.
Did WWE programming and now has her own company called Sirius Sports Entertainment. So good for her. Love you, Jazzy. But then we had some pretty top tier echelon names, like people you're seeing on your television even to this day, like Nick Aldis. And we've had Bushwhacker Luke. We have had Jeff Jarrett. So just those are just a few names of some of the bigger top name stars that we've actually had on the program when we were working with Energy Rock Radio. I do want to include as well, now known as Gabby, then was known as Gabe Tuft. He, was on the show as well. And for us being young content creators, and I don't mean young in our age, I mean young in the creation age business. For us, that was huge because these are names that we would never have been able to get a hold of and kind of work out and get done. Marty Jannetty is another one. That was a fun interview that we did with Marty Jannetty. And then I know one that's still kind of a little close to your heart is Teddy Long as well. So just a plethora of great names that we were able to get a hold of through Energy Rock Radio, and seemingly because of Ryan and kind of the connections that he had, with the exception of Jeff Jarrett. That one I take the credit for because I sent off the emails
a lot of
I did the
legwork into that one.
communication.
Yeah,
there was a lot that went into that one.
That was pretty cool, and I know still at the beginning of your shows, I mean, you hear part of that interaction on a weekly basis of him. I believe he was in Nashville at the time. And he's talking to Canadians, and snow's happening, right? So it goes something like that. So to make a
changed that. I've since changed that. We're not using that in the beginning anymore. But if you go and take a look at some of the previous shows that we've done within the last year, I would say on our channel. Yeah. I can't even say the last year because, well, I mean, we'll get into that. That's
you kept it on there for a long time, and to kind of make a long story short with that side of things, some kind of creative differences, happened there. We could see that the direction of some of the content maybe wasn't necessarily. Essentially, I know you and I were kind of agreeing on this, that it wasn't necessarily like embarrassing, but some things that were kind of happening, it was almost like I'll say it was a little embarrassing to mention to people that we know, hey, go watch this. It's like, oh, that happened on there. Oh, that's unfortunate, So it really got to the point where myself, I was like, okay, we're gonna go off and kind of do our own thing. And then I approached you, and it was a legitimate fear. And I was like, okay, so we're pulling the plug in this. We're gonna try to go do our own thing. I can ask him now, is he gonna say okay? So it was like a legitimate thing. It's like I didn't know what was gonna happen, and to my surprise and my delight, you were on board for it. And then we're off to our races doing our own thing, which wasn't originally called Turnbuckle Talk. We changed it to the J&K Podcast, and we kind of dabbled in a variety of things, and then we decided to then focus in on the wrestling thing. And I believe Turnbuckle Talk, because I know you have Turnbuckle Studios with some of my shows, but Turnbuckle Talk, I mean, you're not too far away from 400 episodes.
We're not. I think right now, and because this is live, we can go and take a look. Wow, we're not live, but we're live recording right now.
So I believe next year you should hit 400, if memory serves me correctly.
I think so. Oh, nice. So we just got you hit 200 views. So cool. Not now. Let's go back over to this. Go to the live section, and we just finished up, or today actually will be episode number 376.
Yeah. So
of
next year,
Turnbuckle Talk.
I think about next either like late next year or early the following year, you'll hit 400. And
Yeah. And it's a
that's going to
weekly
come.
show. So, yeah, once a week. I mean, 52 weeks in a year, right? Every week we're doing at least one show for Turnbuckle Talk itself. And we've been doing it since 2015.
Yeah.
So,
And I
yeah.
believe 2021, I think 2022 was when I left, if memory serves me
About that.
correctly.
About
Right. So
2022. Yeah.
it was the type of thing where it was definitely no. I know there might be a little bit of misinformation out there. I hope that there really isn't, but that I parted it with negative ways with yourself, which was definitely not the case.
No.
There were some issues with some other people that were involved with. I'd rather not name names when it comes to that part of it.
Sure.
And it got to the point with me as well because I'm somebody that, especially on the wrestling side of things, I had a pretty decisive kind of opinion on a lot of things and some takes that I know some people maybe necessarily didn't appreciate, but I've always tried to be myself. And I know that those who do appreciate that. And something I've tried to never compromise on. And, did receive a lot of negativity, some pretty nasty negativity. I don't necessarily want to get into details of, but I just made the decision, it's time for me to kind of step away. And I wasn't stepping away to do other content. I was just like, I was, for all intents and purposes, I was done,
Right.
more or less, right?
With
And
the
then
podcasting world, you mean?
with the podcasting, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I sold all my equipment. I was done, right? I didn't have this, didn't have any of this. And then, I got thinking back to some of our earlier days when we were getting the podcast and we were doing the technical aspect of things.
Yeah.
And outside of wrestling, it was one of my other big passions. It's what I do as my day job. I sell technology to people and I try and impart some of my knowledge and my experience on people as much as I can. I was like, holy crap, maybe this is something that I can kind of do. And now, I mean, I'm almost a year into HTM Tech, right? A little over 9 months. And it's been a very cool experience, and very largely positive. And I've gotten to work with some. And the other cool thing too is I've gotten to kind of use some of the people I've met along the way as well. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Mr. Rick Vickery that we did with the hitting the marks. I mean, he does one of the ad reads at the end of my episodes. I moved it from the beginning to the end.
Right.
Mr. Michael Jargo from Hitting the Marks. I mean, I'm recording with him today talking about Apple WWDC. I'm talking with you on here right now. So
Yeah.
that's been a really interesting thing because I've shifted away from doing all that. I really thought I was going to be alienating myself from a lot of my friends that I've worked with. And
Right.
it's largely turned out to not be the case. And that's been fantastic. To be able to call on you guys to kind of do stuff even with this on relatively short notice, so
Yeah, literally yesterday.
like, hey, let's do something. Let's reminisce about what it's like doing content. Now,
Yeah.
to get into that a little bit, like, what's it been like? Because it can turn into a bit of a grind, especially with the YouTube side of things. Now, how do you like? This could be a little bit thing for people looking to get into YouTube. How do you kind of handle that? Because it can turn into a bit of a grind.
The grind is real, and to be honest, it can be very, very frustrating at times, especially when. So I don't get paid from YouTube. I make
Neither do I.
nothing. I get paid nothing from YouTube. I get nothing from Twitch. I get nothing from any of the audio streaming services that the show goes out onto. We use Podbean to put everything out in audio format, and it just gets distributed out everywhere, which is fantastic. I love the program for that. It's hard because you still have to work a 9 to 5 or a regular job.
Right.
There is really no 9 to 5 anymore. I work swing shifts. I work a bunch of different shift work. I can do day shifts. I'm doing night shifts. I'm doing overnight shifts. So it's really hard to be able to dedicate a lot of the time to be able to create shorts and clips and stuff like that. Thankfully, I've been able to build a solid team who is able to kind of handle a little bit of those when I can't.
Yep.
But YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna get into it. Screw it. I'm gonna get into it.
Go ahead.
YouTube, and
Oh
I
yes,
have
I almost forgot about
beef.
this. Yes, yeah, you guys definitely have a beef. I brought it actually up on Turnbuckle or
Oh,
Turnbuckle, not HTM Tech.
HDM Tech, you did,
Yep,
yeah.
we did bring it up. Yeah,
YouTube,
I
I have
mean,
a little bit of beef, and
lost a lot of work there.
a ton of work. So I had everything started, created, everything was going underneath one email address, which was great. Everything was beautiful. We had all of our episodes in audio format up there. When we moved from audio to doing video, which was a little bit of a struggle in itself on someone else's part.
Yeah, I pushed back a little bit
But
on that.
we went into video and I had all of it. So the entire catalog was on YouTube. And for myself, I should have backed it all up, which I unfortunately didn't do. But the new spouse and I are coming back from a cruise from the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager, and I get an email as I'm standing in line to go through the security checkpoint to get onto the airplane, and YouTube shut my channel down.
I still
So,
can't get over that, man. I can't get over that.
and really the only thing that they had said was that it was spam or deceptive practices.
That's the part that I still can't wrap my head around. I mean, there was literally nothing deceptive about it.
I think where it may have come, and I'm not trying to make good for them at all, but I think that it may be because we use a program called StreamYard that
Uh-huh.
allows us to share out to different places.
Okay.
And I think that maybe because the exact same show was being broadcast to two different YouTube channels with the exact same look, the exact same um what is that thumbnail,
Yeah.
like because everything was exactly the same. I think
Hmm.
that maybe that's where they saw that, because there was two
Weird.
channels that were involved with this, and I'm not going to name the channels. I'm not going to get into any of that, but
Hmm.
that one was also shut down. So that's why I figured that it was because of that. But I emailed them, I
Yeah.
messaged them, I appealed it. It was denied. I got a hold of YouTube Helps on X, and they
Hmm.
took their time and delved into things and took a look for me. They were actually able to recover the secondary YouTube channel
Hmm.
that was part of that email address. So I was able to go in and use a program to get all of those episodes down. And thankfully, there weren't a
Nice.
lot, but it was a lot of travel videos that I had with my kids, which
Yeah.
I wanted, right?
Definitely one of those memories.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So I was able to get those, but they were not able to get me anything from the old Turnbuckle Talk episodes that were there. So
Yeah.
again, I have an amazing team with Turnbuckle Studios, and
Yeah.
they went ahead and created a new channel, and they got a new email address, and they did all of this while I was on the verge of literal tears
Hmm.
because I've lost essentially a life's work
Yeah.
of content, and they really stepped up and kept things going and kept things rolling for me, because yeah, I even contemplated if this was even still worth it
Yeah.
anymore.
It's
For
the type
me,
of
it
thing.
is.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where I mean you're always in doubt as well. But before I continue too much, I need to have a little beverage here. This ended up actually being a bit of a tradition on Turnbuckle Talk, so I'm gonna take
Yep,
a drink of my unsponsored Dr Pepper before.
that's right.
Yeah. So for myself, I'm kind of like a one man operation here with HTM Tech, and that's part of the
Yeah.
reason for those who do subscribe to my channel. Again, thank you very much. You'll see that there's a new video up there called "I'm Scaling Things Back." Because for myself, I do get to work with some of my friends as well, but for uploading and editing that stuff, it all falls upon myself. And with being with my day job, eats up a lot of my time, but more responsibility. I was literally just getting to the point where it's like, not necessarily that I wasn't having fun anymore, but feeling slightly burned out. And I even had like an opportunity, like I felt like I wasn't just sitting back to just to get to watch like some TV, or, I'm subscribed to MLS and Apple TV Plus, but barely watching that, but just not leaving myself enough time to kind of just unwind and just kind of sit back and relax. So
Right.
that's why
Right.
I'm making the decision to just scale things back, just to provide myself with a little bit of balance. Because to put things into perspective, especially for those of you looking into getting into YouTube, it is not something that you're likely ever going to make money off of. Something you need to come to that realization. And either you do it as a passion project or just do it because you love doing it. But keep your expectations realistic. It's probably one of the best things I can say to any prospective YouTuber out there. It's a landscape that's changed very much over the years. Those who got in initially are still either doing very well, or even a lot of them have kind of burned out as well, because people don't necessarily make money off of the views and the stuff like that anymore. They find other side ways of making money, whether it be like Patreon or buy me a coffee and these kind of things, where you're either like buying merchandise or supporting the creator outside of the YouTube world. That's where it's kind of happening. So,
oh yeah, definitely it does. And I mean, it's really, really difficult to make money when it comes to YouTube. And I know people that are making money from YouTube, and it's like $12
yeah,
for the year.
Yeah, you're not going to make a
that
living,
they made, right?
So.
Yeah. If this face and this voice isn't making millions on YouTube,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I think it's just a travesty that that's the case, but yeah. So yeah, it's the type of thing where it's you got to do it because you enjoy doing it,
Right.
And it really is a hobby for myself. So that's why just decided, because it turns into the type of thing where you become almost like a slave to the algorithm. And there was a little bit of my fault too. And I was there was I think last week I did like 2 or 3 episodes in one day. I just felt like I'll just boom, 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 right. And I was just like, I'm just doing a little too much. I need to get a little bit of balance back and just kind of just go back to just taking it easy, but still having fun with it, but just knowing that other things take precedence, and that it's something that I'll likely never make a living off of, because it's also become a very oversaturated environment as well. So we're here because we enjoy doing it. That's really what all it is at the end of the day. And if we entertain and make some other people happy, great.
And I can tell you though, I mean, for myself and my team with Turnbuckle Studios, if we could be making money off of this, you're damn right we would.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not like the end goal has always been to see what we can do to entertain, to educate, and to make money. Because at the end of the day, that's what the world revolves around. It revolves around this monetary thing called money.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, and that's still the goal. If we can, we would love to. There's nothing that's stopping us from trying and continuing to try to do that. And we've tried different things. Like Turnbuckle Studios right now has a gaming side of things. There is the Board's Nest, there is Saturday Night Gaming. Mr. Chris Best is doing a WrestleMania showcase type of show as well that he puts out there. Right. Then we've got Monday nights where we're watching Raw and just kind of talking about it. Tuesdays is wrestling. Friday is a SmackDown show.
Yep.
So it's still a lot of wrestling content to kind of go along with the turnbuckle side of things, but we're not afraid to branch out and try other things as well. There's no reason why we can't use Turnbuckle Studios as that head of the platform for other things as well.
Yeah. For HTM Tech, it's really just become a thing where I'm just like sharing my lifelong knowledge of technology. I mean, I've had comments and messages where it's just like, wow, it's like there's a topic like not a lot of people are talking about, and you really kind of hey, that's something that I'm going to make use of, or that I
Mhm.
find useful in my life. And I did one where it was talking about books, digital books and actual books, and when it was I think it was like 10, or it was like a handful of tech things that if you don't know about, you should know about. And people are just like, oh, that's a really cool thing. I might even see about getting that when it's available. So it's been very rewarding, talking about technology, because that's something that has become more and more kind of ingrained in our day-to-day lives. I mean, we all have
Right.
these things in our pocket or in front of us, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's the type of thing where, for me, like the big shift was, going from wrestling to technology, is as I'm slamming into
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
microphone. Going from something that I was becoming a little disillusioned about, to
Right.
shifting over to something that I could consistently be passionate about. Because I did get a lot of negativity, and I know it could potentially happen with the tech stuff as well. But it's the type of thing where I just had to shift my focus to something that I was enjoying a little bit more. And it's not that I hate wrestling, but just, I will say that the fan base I'm not particularly fond of, and they kind of treated me a little bit poorly. So I'm
Right.
maybe a little bit bitter, but at the end of the day, I've shifted over something that I genuinely enjoy talking about, and just getting the positive feedback of really making somebody's day is more than enough for me. Like I said, if I ever
Mhm.
never make a dime on YouTube doing this, if I can still at least reach out and have affected somebody in a positive way, that makes it all worth it at the end of the day.
And you need to realize that there are going to be the negative people. There
Oh
are going
yeah,
to be the haters.
I
There's going
had
to
one
be
the other
all
day
of that.
where he's like, "This channel's stupid," and I'm like, "Cool. Thank you for the view." And he
Thanks for
subscribed.
watching,
So,
at
so I
least.
was like, he viewed and subscribed. So I was like, "Thanks." So it's the type of thing
Right.
where, yeah, there's no point in descending to their level. But
No, no. I
yeah,
mean, even I've run into that situation, right? Like we've
yeah,
worked with a number of different people, and even some of those people, kind of didn't like things that I was doing, and thought that it was negative and had negative tendencies, right? And whatever. So I just okay, I don't need
yeah,
that negativity. So I just remove myself from the situation, and it's giving me peace, and hopefully it gives them a little bit of peace as well.
yeah.
And we just all kind of just go on with life afterwards and just continue the grind. And I wish them well. I really hope that they succeed, just as I hope that we succeed
Yeah.
as well. So I mean, there's going to be those negative people that are out there, but you can't allow them to get underneath your skin, right? One of the biggest things that I've always lived by is um, oh my god, I'm blanking right now. I can't even think of my own sayings.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
can
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I can't even think of it right now. What the hell? Wow. This happens very, very slightly.
That's
Usually my words are good.
okay.
Usually
Right,
I'm good.
right. But yeah, like you nailed it there. It's a type of thing where you just have to rise above, um, and do what you like. And if it's something you don't like, you not may necessarily want to keep beating your head against. Well, that's what was kind of getting to me. Not necessarily, and I'm really grateful too that because I did part ways, that people didn't necessarily hate me. I know there were some people that kind of did, but at least I know the people that matter to me, didn't hold it against me for making the shifts, and that's something I'll always be grateful for. So
If I can't control the situation, I can't let the situation control me.
that's a good say. I think that's almost kind of good way to end kind of things off there.
That's the
All right,
one I was looking for. That's
there
the
you
one
go.
that I couldn't get out,
Perfect.
but I got it out.
Perfect. We got there. All right, man. But before we head out here, I will let you have the floor. And for those of you tuning into HTM Tech here, if you are interested in the world of professional wrestling, Karl, the floor is yours. Let them know what you have going on and when. I know we already kind of hit up, but I'll let you kind of summarize at the end here of where they can find you and what's happening.
I'm going to summarize it real nice and easy. Two ways. One, you can go and take a look at our YouTube page. That is turnbuckle_studios on YouTube. And then if you can't find it, take a look right down there. The link tree, linktr.ee/Karl Karafel, linktr.ee/KarlKarufel. It's got everything right there. Linktree is an amazing program as well, and I'm happy that I jumped onto the Linktree bandwagon, so to speak, and I use it for free. And it still gives me a lot of great features in the free version, and it's brought a lot of people over. So if you are interested in professional wrestling or gaming, please come and take a look at us. Leave us a thumbs up, ring that notification bell after you have subscribed, and become part of the Turnbuckle Studios family.
Awesome. For myself here, after this episode, you're going to see the next up on the channel. I'm going to sit down with our good friend, Mr. Michael Jargo, who we used to work with over at Hitting the Marks. And we are going to talk about and summarize everything that happened at WWDC, which is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, where they announced some really, really cool updates to iOS, macOS, and iPadOS, as well as their own artificial intelligence, which has been the big buzz around the technology world, called Apple Intelligence. Getting to see what that was kind of all about. And from what I saw at the event, it blows everything else out of the water in the industry. It is going to be something really, really cool. It's actual artificial intelligence that's actually useful to you, not just another chatbot. This is something that actually helps you get things accomplished. And if you want to as well, what was really cool about that too, I'm getting on a bit of a side tangent, but I'm going to end it soon. At the very beginning of the video, even if you're not a fan of Apple, if you're a fan of like really cool introductions, they literally skydived in above Apple headquarters to Motley Crue. It is something to check out. Do yourself a favor and go check it out. It is very entertaining. It was a great way to kick off the show. And if you're a fan of technology, there's some cool stuff that got announced. So make sure to check that out and check out the video that I'm going to drop where I talked to Jargo about it. I'm curious to see if he's going to be as stoked as I am about it because he's a pretty opinionated dude. So we'll see how that kind of goes. All right. We'll see you next time where we talk about how tech matters. HTM Tech is brought to you by Microplay, located at 265 King George Road in Brantford, Ontario, Canada, for all of your video game and collectible needs.
This episode of HTM Tech is brought to you by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy offers a wide range of products, including energy drinks and dietary supplements, containing 0 sugar, 0 to 5 calories, B vitamins, gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% vegan. Rogue Energy products are a great alternative to those corner store energy drinks that are loaded with sugar and cause you to crash soon after. Head over to rogueenergy.com where viewers of HTM Tech can get 10% off any order placed. Not just your first order, but any time you order. Just use offer code HTM Tech at the checkout to get your discount on one of the hottest energy drink brands on the market. Hey, don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself today.
Those who new, thanks for stopping by. I don't know if I got that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that over again because I think I got that backwards.
Okay, sounds good. And here, let me solo layout for you even.
I'm a professional. I can do this.